Welcome to High Gluttony. I'm Gretchen.
And I'm Becca. And we're two curious ladies who like to cook,
Smoke,
learn,
and enjoy a meal with friends.
We invite you to join us every 10 days or so here at the High Gluttony Homestead and listen to us make a mess
and have a lot of fun. So step inside, Gluttoniers. Welcome to the homestead, everybody.
Hello, Gretchen. I'm so excited for today. We get to have our Gluttoniers here for like a super fun recording.
I know. I'm kicking myself for how fun this is going to be, as far as like, why haven't we decided to do this before? Too many good ideas, I guess.
We're just too hungry other times to like do all this prep and everything. But what are you smoking? What are you drinking? What's happening before we get down the road to our cooking? Let's do our little cocktail chat. What's going on?
We'll start with my beverage today. I've got some Enkidu Chardonnay that we are enjoying. And then I am smoking Airheads flower, which is an indica, and it is a 36% THC, which was a bit surprising to me because I bought it without consulting what the THC percentage was. Of course, I was at the store and the guy was like, how about this? And I was like, sounds good. Put it in the bag.
Perfect. Yes. No questions.
And what are you smoking and drinking today?
Well, I'm laughing because earlier when you told me what you were smoking, you had said it has a really high THC of 36% or something. And I was like, I don't understand math. I don't understand how these percentages work, because I'm smoking I love a Jack Herer now. I'm so obsessed with Jack Herer. So I'm smoking a Jack Herer pen. And it has 93% THC. So Gretchen was explaining to me the difference of concentrate and flowers and all that. And I was like, yep, sounds good. Yeah. Sounds great.
You're like, I still don't understand this at all. What you're saying is complete nonsense to me.
I'm glad you know how to make sense of it, but I like it. I'm enjoying my 93% THC, and then got some limonene, terpenoline, and pinene. And I am zeroing in on those three so far as like top faves. So I've been seeking those ones out.
That is the way we're supposed to be buying our weed now, is going after what the terpenes are. I think mine probably has some limonene in it. I want to say caryophyllene, but I'm not sure. It doesn't have a terpene profile. I'm just going by what I can smell, and I'm guessing. Cool. So...
And best guess. Yeah, best guess. And then I'm actually drinking some Forlorn Hope Chenin Blanc. You had the Forlorn Hope Verdelho the other week, and I was envious. I love the Verdelho so much, but also I love the Chenin Blanc. So that's what I'm sipping on today. And then what are we going to be making that we're so excited about?
Well, we're making appetizers.
Yay! We love appetizers.
I know, finger foods are the best foods of all time. I love eating with my fingers. Therefore, I am really kicking myself about not doing anything with Filo before, because number one, so all of our appetizers are going to have Filo. We are featuring Filo dough on this episode.
The Filo feature.
The Filo feature. And then we will never do Filo again. No. Now that we know it's so versatile, we may use it all the frickin' time because it's great. I'd forgotten a little bit how versatile it is. It's an easy way to make little like hand pie kind of things. You can just roll asparagus up in it, so you have some crunchy baked asparagus with a nice phyllo outside. That's a very popular appetizer in the catering circuit because guess what? It's fucking easy.
Well, and we were going to do that, but then we got so excited about the raw asparagus salad the other episode. So we couldn't do back-to-back asparagus, but that phyllo makes it easy.
Makes it easy.
Because Gretchen's not making me make it this time. I got to buy an ingredient, everybody. Gretchen didn't make me make it from scratch this time.
I have limits. And phyllo dough is my limit. All right. Ooh. Hand stretched dough so that you can read through it is my limit. I can't. I just can't. I don't have the time. I don't have the patience. Not a problem to make puff pastry. Phyllo dough is where they draw the line.
And puff pastry was a challenge for me. So like, thank fuck you draw the line there because I cannot go further than that. So this is good. This is good news.
It is good news. Yeah. Especially with the stretching, like it, because it's mostly involves a lot of stretching. And I just can't. Although I did find out that you can, in fact, put it through a pasta machine. So I was like, well, next time.
Oh, okay. Next.
Becca's like, no, just never.
So maybe I'm so excited because it's not that much work today. Like we've been doing a lot of chopping up ingredients and stuff, but nothing overly complicated. So I'm so excited.
Well, we are kind of going for a little bit of simplicity. And I felt like it was time to do some sort of appetizer or more of a thing that people could do at home. That phyllo dough is really widely available. It's pretty forgiving. It's more forgiving than, say, a puff pastry in general. I'd forgotten that it is such a good thing to make sure to use because of all those reasons I just mentioned. And it's very neutral. So it can take a lot of different flavors. Should I get into what we were making then?
I think that'd be great. Yeah. Tell us about the actual tasty little pocket delicious treat things we're making.
We're doing that Greek classic spanakopita. Can you please say it?
Spanakopita. But let's say real quick, we're going to make 3 different.
Yes.
The first one's going to be our spinach kind of based one.
Yes. Spinach and feta with dill pretty much is what we're doing. Just mixing those 3 things together, putting them inside the phyllo. We're going to make a sweet-ish one with apples and cheddar cheese.
Mm-hmm.
It's also a very cheesy episode. We've got a couple of cheesy episodes coming up, so prepare yourselves. We love cheese. And our third one is just going to be a goat cheese with pine nuts and olives, kalamata olives.
And do not dare ask Gretchen to mix kalamata olives and cheddar cheese because I made that mistake during our production episode and I've never seen her so visibly or audibly aghast by like a suggestion. So now I know.
It took me by surprise. It's not something I've ever done or ever seen anywhere. So it was more the surprise of it. But I can't visualize those 2 things together at all. We had to have an in-depth cheddar and olive conversation about that. Yes.
Every other pairing we have, I think you feel really good about. But we should also say we're kind of just making these up as we go. Literally, we were just like, what sounds good together to us and what doesn't sound good together.
We are going to fold them up into 3 different shapes so we can figure out which is which once we bake them. So we'll be able to show you a little bit of that versatility of the dough.
I'm really curious to hear you compare puff pastry and phyllo and kind of talk a little bit about like what makes phyllo special, because I originally could not find phyllo dough and I only found puff pastry, and assuming that would be fine, I texted Gretchen and said, only got puff pastry. And she said, very different. No, it will work, but very, very different. So I said, okay, I will find phyllo dough. So tell me what's going on with phyllo dough?
Here's the thing. When you said that, I was like, it could work because it's pretty close. Once you get into it, you're having an open edge versus a closed edge. But other than that, it's not terribly different. Because you enclose the butter into the puff pastry. So it's trapped inside. Whereas
laminated.
It's laminated.
This is laminated. I have learned things. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So puff pastry has butter in between layers of dough, really thin layers of dough with layers of butter in there.
Exactly. Phyllo dough is basically if you just had the layer part, the dough part of puff pastry in individual layers.
No butter. Wait, what do you mean?
We add butter. So it's the dough itself might have olive oil in it, but it doesn't have butter. I mean, it's so hard to tell you the difference because once I started thinking about it, I was like, it's really not that different. But it is. Yeah.
The way the butter is in there is different.
It's
different. Like fair to say? Okay.
Yeah. So you're using melted butter for a phyllo dough usually, whereas you need your butter to be cold and intact when you're doing puff pastry. It's just Filo is much easier. The problem with it though is that because it is like making a puff pastry where you're trying to get that super thin dough layer and that's all you're achieving, rolling it out is a pain in the butt.
Because it's so brittle.
It's so thin. You're trying to be able to read through it. I mean, that is the general rule, is you have to at least be able to tell their letters on the other side of it. It needs to be super duper thin.
It's such a weird parameter for dough. Like, can you read through this? Yes, I always read through my dough. Getting to that see-through stage is really hard.
They make really good commercial variety. I mean, when I've worked in kitchens, we never made our own Filo dough, ever. I've only ever worked with pre-made Filo dough.
But did you make your own puff pastry?
Depended on the application, but in general, no. For the most part, we actually bought our puff pastry as well.
Okay.
Just because it is such a time-consuming thing. And it's just not something you can do as easily by hand.
So it sounds like what you're saying is you could spend the time to do either puff pastry or Filo at home to make it yourself at home, but you're probably not really going to notice a tangible difference when it's cooked. From like, if for me, like I probably wouldn't notice like a huge difference. Gretchen's like, I would.
Yes.
But for me, for Becca, I'm not like store-bought's going to be delicious. So it's not really worth it to spend all that time and energy to make it yourself.
Right.
Especially for us today. Like we're just trying to make this like quick, delicious app kind of party thing. So we're just buying it packaged.
We're trying to show you I can actually do things the easy way. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I know. It's like, I think it's just because I feel really bad about how a couple of the last couple have gone. So I was just like, I gotta make this easier for Becca. I have tortured her slightly on the last few episodes.
It's been a real journey. No kidding. Yeah. Okay. So butter is like the way the butter's incorporated is so far is kind of the biggest difference between puff pastry and Filo.
Correct.
And then what else should I know about Filo dough?
Well, it's been around so long that nobody's really fucking sure where it came from. Number one, of course.
This always happens to us. We're like, let's figure out the history. Nobody knows.
Nobody. Not a single fucking person.
But what did you find?
So the Greeks kind of have been given a lot of credit for it, especially because the word philo means leaf in Greek, and that is sort of the universal word for this dough. There are other words such as yufka, which means thin in Turkish. They're pretty sure the first time that it really came up was the Turks invented it about 1,000 years ago. The Greeks have been given a lot of credit for it, but we're pretty sure they just kind of borrowed it from a neighbor. Homer's The Odyssey around 800 BC. Something similar along the lines of baklava was mentioned in that, but it really just says bread with nuts and honey. It doesn't really say like thin layers of dough with nuts and honey. So it's like, it could have just been any fucking bread. Why are you trying to say that was fucking baklava? But some people have also said that it may have worked its way west from China. So might have to give credit to the Chinese, but something sort of similar came out of Egypt too. So there's no clear history. And as we know, there's just no true cuisine anywhere anymore. So everybody probably influenced each other. Seems like the likely situation. So
all of a sudden, everybody just knows how to make things everywhere.
I feel like Filo's slightly more akin to pasta dough rather than doing puff pastry, in that you are just making a sheet. One sheet of dough and rolling out super thin. So you are going to work on developing that gluten pretty well. It's like a 10 to 20 minute need just to make sure you really get that gluten developed so that you can stretch that dough, because that is the number one thing about how this dough originated, was from hand stretching. Or at an earlier time, people in Turkey, at least the households that would be able to afford this, had 2 people to make their Filo dough. It was that important.
Wow.
Which I was like, that seems right. Yeah.
Much easier with 2.
So the dough is made using water, flour, oil. I did come across a Spruce Eats recipe that has a special sort of liquor in it, but it also said you could use vinegar. So like you've got that like when we made the dough with the vinegar, the pie dough.
The pie crust.
The pie crust.
The pot pie.
Yeah. And then also it used lemon juice, which I was like, that's pretty good. Cause like that's adding like a lot of nice little flavors in there. And you just mix all those things together like a regular dough, knead the fuck out of it for, 10 to 20 minutes, and then let it sit overnight. After it's rested, you portion it out and stretch it out really thin. And like you kind of use like the backs of your hands, because you're trying to cheese something so thin that if you use the front of your hand, you're going to poke through the dough. So you have to use like the backs and sides of your hands to like pull and stretch the dough. And you would usually have like a huge flat surface. So you could just lay out this huge piece of stretched dough and then be able to work with it. You need like at least like a good 10 square feet of space at the very least to make phyllo dough. And I don't know anybody that's really got that kind of space in their home. Like I would have to work really hard at getting my kitchen clean to make that kind of mess.
Even then, even if you did have the space, can you imagine? How do you like roll something out across the 10 by 10 by yourself? Like, oh my God.
There are skilled people out there that can do it with a broom handle.
I want to watch a video. That sounds fun.
So that's part of the trick, is that you usually have like a long, thin stick that you're using to push and stretch that dough too.
Interesting. So you just got to keep stretching it out, and then you can use it for anything.
Yeah,
like,
because it's neutral.
Sweet,
savory. Yeah. I mean, we had a really good time looking up recipes and then decided to do none of them because we were going to do our own thing. But we did try to do something a little bit unusual just because it is so neutral. I mean, I was just like, let's do all Greek stuff. And Becca was like, how about we don't?
This was an interesting production meeting for us. We were like, yes, no, yes, no.
And I did feel that Becca's suggestion that maybe making something that was a little bit off like the traditional things that I think of putting in phyllo was a good idea.
We're pushing each other past our limits.
Growth has got to happen somehow. So
just pushing it, just making it happen. Yeah. So super versatile, super flexible, and just like can be used all the time for anything. And you can buy it at the store, but you have to defrost it first.
Yes. One of the key things is making sure that you defrost it slowly overnight, or as slowly as possible, because if you try and just defrost it like on the counter, you can have a buildup of moisture that comes out of the dough that like leaves the dough too quickly, and then you're going to end up with a mushy mess because they don't put anything between those phyllo dough layers. They are stacked together all together. So if there's any moisture that gets in there, it will mush into a big mushy pile.
Okay, so right now mine's all rolled up in like a single little spiral.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But when I unfold it, it's not going to be individual like parchment paper between the layers of dough. It's just going to be one big piece. And then I will take off one thin layer from the top, or two, or whatever we decide to do.
Right.
But okay. Okay. That's fun. I didn't know. I thought when I unfolded that, I'm excited now because it's just gonna be one big piece of flour.
Yeah. Hopefully not one big piece of flour. Then we might have a problem. But
But like archaeology.
Yeah. One layer at a time. Yes, very much like that. I do love phyllo dough. I'm excited.
I'm so excited and hungry, of course.
Well, I'm getting a little drunk. I haven't eaten today, so I'm a little drunk. I'm working on getting high. This might be a bit of a loose episode. We'll try and keep it together for you here. That's why we were trying to be very explicit off the top about what we're doing.
Yeah, we're both like, who knows what's going to happen next?
So should we run through all the things we're using today and our process to get through our little appetizers that we're going to make?
Yeah, I will read through our ingredients, and then if you could talk us through the steps for each one, that'd be great.
One note before we get started on the ingredient. I basically wrote a general list with general amounts, and this is not specific to the exact proportions that we are going to have in our dishes today. Just wanted to make that note right up front.
Yeah. And I barely looked at the amounts.
Okay, good. Great. Not a problem. Okay, good. You got the spirit of the day then, I think.
So I'm going to read an amount of each ingredient, and you can decide how much you want to use of it when you make this yourself. So
lovely. I applaud you on your wording of that. Let's do this.
Okay. Some ingredients. For our goat cheese kalamata one, we are using 8 ounces of goat cheese and 1 jar of kalamata olives, kind of, and some filo dough. And we're going to throw in some pine nuts in there to give a little crunch. Then for our apple and cheddar, pretty straightforward again. We've got 4 ounces of cheddar cheese, 1 to 2 green apples, depending on the size, and then Filo dough again. Actually, let me back up real quick. So for our goat cheese kalamata one, we're going to try to make these kind of a spiral pinwheel shape.
We'll see what the shape ends up being. I would like to make a swirl, but we'll see what happens.
We'll see. Our cheddar cheese and apple is going to be a little like triangle pocket, kind of like what you would see with a spanakopita kind of thing. But then for our last one, our kind of spanakopita, we are going to use 8 ounces of feta, 8 ounces of frozen spinach that's been defrosted, drained, and chopped. So getting all that water out of there. And then 1 bunch of dill. And this one we're going to make into open little crowns.
Yeah, crowns.
Folded over crowns.
Yeah,
okay.
That's a good word, because I was like, it's like a tricorner hat, but then I was like, no, it's got 4 sides. We are not making a tricorner hat.
And then we will need melted butter, and we will need olive oil, salt, and pepper.
I don't remember why I put olive oil on there. I don't know.
Maybe we'll use it. Optional so far.
Well, optional, yeah. You can. So, I mean, you can also do olive oil in place of butter. I don't know what that would be like. I've only ever used butter.
What sort of equipment are we going to use today?
So we're going to use a lot of bowls because we chopped a bunch of stuff and now we have a bunch of prep bowls sitting around, but we're going to have 3 bowls that we need for our main mixes. We're going to need a pastry brush, at least 1 sheet pan, probably more, parchment paper, sharp knife, and we are going to use 2 mesh strainers because you need to have already drained your spinach. And we are going to cook our apples and then try and get some of the moisture out of that. So we need those 2 mesh strainers to do that draining. And that's where we're at with the equipment.
What are we going to start with right now? And what are our steps to make all 3?
Okay, so here are the things we've already done before we get into where we're going next. We defrosted our Filo as slowly and as cold as possible. I did mine overnight in the fridge.
Defrosted and drained our spinach.
Right.
Cut up our apples.
Peeled and cut up our apples.
Oh, I didn't peel.
Oh, that's okay. It'll be fine.
Okay.
Not a problem. I peeled mine, but
of course.
Not.
Okay. I mean, of course.
It makes 0 difference. Okay. And in the end of it all, you're going to have that, like the little bit of peel texture. That's the only reason to peel it, is like if you don't want that texture in there. So peeling, let's leave it up to you, everybody, because we're doing it both ways. We go both ways on this podcast at all times.
All the ways.
So we're going to take those diced apples. We're going to cook them on the stove top, put them into a mesh strainer just to see whatever liquid comes out of them. And once they cool down a little bit, we'll mix that with the cheddar cheese. Then we're going to make our spanakopita type filling with the spinach. And we've got some feta and chopped up dill. And then we're going to make our 3rd filling with the goat cheese, kalamata olives, which I've cut into rings. I don't know. How did you decide to do yours, Becca? Did you just chop or?
Yeah, kind of a loose chop. They're just kind of like little strips almost.
Cool. Whatever you want. I did rings because I was running behind. And we're going to make our 3 fillings. I'm sorry. I'm a little woo right now. That 30% THC is, I'm glad I put a very tiny amount and hit it twice now. Like
you're good.
I'm in a good level, but if I got any higher, we would be fucked.
We'd be in trouble. So pretty much we've done a lot of prep. We've got to cook our apples and then mix up our 3 fillings. Correct, and then we're just kind of wrapping those up in various shapes with our Filo.
Exactly. We have to melt some butter because we need our butter for our Filo.
And our ovens are preheated to 375.
What do you think? We've got 47 minutes to pull this off. What do you think? Can we do it?
Let's go. Let's move to the kitchen. Let's do this. First up,
apples.
Okay. And it's just the apple in there. There's no other.
I'm going to put a little bit of butter to cook it with, but not a lot.
What temperature?
I've got mine on medium high at the moment just to get the pan going because I'm going to add my apples pretty quick here because we're not looking for like that pan has to really be a certain temperature, but mine's already pretty good heat right now. My new stove is very impressive with
Ooh.
I'm still getting the hang of it. All right. So I'm going to put my apples in because my butter is sort of sizzling a little bit over here.
Okay, I will too.
I'm trying to cut mine into sort of a fine dice, but now that I'm looking at it, they're way bigger than I really want. Oops. I'm gonna add a little salt to my apples.
Okay. Is that to pull out more moisture and flavor or both? Or we're doing all the boths today?
All the boths. Trying to decide, we didn't really add any flavor, like sweetness enhancers, that's what I'll call them, sweetness enhancers, on our recipe list. And I'm trying to decide if we should add a little like honey or sugar.
Mm-hmm. What do you think?
I'm torn.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe just like a teaspoon of honey, like a very small amount of honey.
Okay.
Especially since we're not using a lot of apple. You used one apple and I used
just one.
Two. I wasn't looking for browning, but now I've got some.
Oh, wow. Okay. My butter's still melting.
As I told you, I'm still adjusting to the stove. I think I'm gonna have to turn on the fan. I'm sorry.
I finally have a little bit of some liquid draining out of my apples. Oh, it smells good.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if we said, how long will we cook these? Will we cook them all at the same time? Can they all cook at the same time?
The answer to that is yes, but we're going to have to kind of keep an eye on it. The nice thing is that Filo dough is also forgiving, as I keep saying. And if we take it out, we can put it back in if it still needs to go further. So we could always like pull it out, take things off that are done, put it back in. We have the flexibility for that because we're doing a bunch of different things at the same time.
Our Filo is flexible too.
Yes, we're flexible. The Filo's flexible. I took my honey bottle and drizzled it a little bit over my apples. And I gotta say, I like that addition. I'm getting some really beautiful honey smell to it right now. And I think that's gonna be really nice with the cheddar.
Oh, good.
Man, my apples must not have had much water to them because they are definitely not getting any smaller like I was hoping they might, or releasing much liquid, but I have been just sauteing them. So that is kind of the point of the saute, is that it allows moisture to escape at the same time.
So I should just put this into a glass bowl when I think all the moisture's come out? Or
as much moisture as you feel like getting out.
Sure.
I had a piece fly out of the pan. Let's taste it. Oh, that's going to be fucking good.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Because I put that salt on. So you got a like nice salty note to it.
I think I need a little more salt.
Nice thing is the apples don't seem to have too much moisture to them.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to see if I can get them a little bit softer.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like I should be mixing our other fillings while we're waiting for this to cook. Because then this can sit and drain while we form our other appetizers.
Okay.
So we have time, and I want this to cook a little longer. So let's move on to making our other fillings.
Okay, perfect. What should we do first?
Dealer's choice. What would you like to do first?
Let's do spinach.
Okay.
Okay.
So I have my defrosted and well-pressed and drained spinach. Not just drained, I did press the actual liquid out of it. I thought that might be better.
Okay, I squeezed it.
And then I am going to crumble my feta into this. I did take it out of the liquid that it comes in just to drain it a little bit. Because that is the one problem with dealing with such a thin dough, is that if you have too much moisture, it's going to ruin your life. Now that I've got my saute. Yeah, I mean, these apples must not have had much moisture to them because the apples are browning. I'm just going to spread this out on a plate so that it'll cool a little bit quicker. And that'll allow any steam to evaporate from across the entire surface of the apples as well. So spread it out for cooling and moisture evaporation.
Let me spread my apple out now.
And then I'm going back to my spanakopita. I've got my spinach. I've got my feta in here as well. I'm going in with some dill.
Are you going to do salt and pepper?
Yes, I will do salt and pepper. Okay. I think I'm doing about 1/4 cup of roughly chopped dill. I'm going to get my Luke Skywalker salt grinder out here. And then my Darth Vader pepper grinder. I've got my goat cheese in a bowl over here. So I'm actually going to add some salt and pepper to my goat cheese while I'm at it. I'll move on to that shortly after. Don't need a lot of salt in that goat cheese though, because they've got already this salty olives in there.
Sure.
The olives are very salty.
Yum.
I'm going to say maybe 1/4 or Yeah, maybe a quarter of a cup of pine nuts too.
Quarter cup. Okay. I'm just mixing my spinach stuff by hand.
Oh, you are.
I'm just
okay.
like, well, I'm
You're doing it, and I was waiting for you.
I thought you had already mixed it all.
No, I was waiting. I mean, I'm mixing mine with a fork, but
okay.
My filling looks good. Like as far as dryness goes, I'm not seeing a lot of extra moisture. It's making it more, I'm going to use the word fluffy.
Okay.
But that's not a problem. I go again with a fork on my olive and goat cheese. Oh my God. I can't wait to eat this goat cheese and olive. So glad I found that thing about the pine nuts. All right.
Wow.
So how warm are my apples? They're probably cooled down enough. I can touch them. If I can touch them, they're cool enough to go in with my cheese. Because it really doesn't matter if it melts a little bit. I just didn't want it to like fully melt the apple or the cheese. So I'm mixing together my cheddar and apples.
Okay, I'm still doing my olive and goat.
Okay. So all of my fillings are ready now. So
okay.
Interesting. I think I ended up with equal amounts of spanakopita and apple. And then my goat cheese is the lowest amount, but at the same time, that's not too surprising because it's denser. It's a much denser thing. It doesn't have air gaps in it.
Everything's so good. I'm just like tasting all of it. I'm like I don't know if it's going to make it in the Filo.
Spanakopita is good.
Oh yeah. Yours is very pretty.
What do you want to fold first?
Maybe. Well, I have the least amount of the olive.
Okay, same.
So maybe that first.
Do that first. I think that will be the more complicated of the items. I'm going to cut my sheet into quarters.
Quarters, okay.
Mostly because I have a big split sort of in the middle anyway. So might as well let the dough do what it's going to do.
Let the dough do.
Naturally. Number 1, make sure you hold the pastry sheet when you start to brush it.
Okay, good to know.
Because if you don't, it just sticks to the brush. All right. Let's see if I can get a swirl.
Is that enough butter to melt or should I do more?
Let's start with that. Lots of experimentation going to be happening here. So I ended up putting the end that doesn't have as much filling in it as the outer part.
Okay.
For the first one.
Okay.
It's going to be a little bit of trial and error to do like a pinwheel type thing, I got to say.
Okay.
Like, I'm glad we're doing this one first. This one's going to be the hardest.
Our Tootsie Roll.
Our Tootsie Roll.
Tootsie Roll.
Which is weird because a Tootsie Roll isn't really, I mean, it's a round shape, but it's not really rolled, is it?
I have no idea. I was just thinking of the wrapper of a Tootsie Roll.
I know. That's actually a good comparison. There.
So what am I doing with this Filo?
Take a sheet, very gently, lay it down. Butter first before you do anything. So we're going to take one sheet.
You took one sheet, laid it out on a cutting board, and that full sheet you're buttering.
Yes.
Okay.
Step 1.
Yeah, I'm just going to watch you do this.
Okay. Don't soak. You're not trying to soak your sheet in butter. I really just want what the brush can provide here. So I need a thin layer and not even necessarily a fully like covering layer. Just
dip your brush in the butter and then start swiping, and you don't have to like overdo it.
Then we're going to go pick up a second sheet. So
this is that on top of the butter.
Put that on top of the butter. We've got 2 layers. Okay. Then second application of butter. So same process. Then once we've got our sheet buttered, instead of trying to individually butter each strip, now we'll cut it after this. Should make our lives then wrap a little easier. Yeah.
I see. Okay, then
split down the middle, and then this a quarter and a quarter. And I'm putting my filling at kind of an odd angle here. It's like I start about 4/5 of the way up the roll, and I'm not quite going to the opposite corner. So it's at a bit of an angle. Take it from the back quarter, fold that over the filling, pull it up over, and then just gently roll. Okay, 2 sheets is really good because that gives you a little bit more support. And I am
twisting the end.
And then folding the end in. And then I'm going to just roll this around.
Okay, I think I got it. Yeah. I got to butter my first one then.
My dough's still split, but sad. Hopefully it'll be okay. Okay, so I think I overfilled that one. Also, just making this shit up as I go. So if you find a method that works for you,
sure,
go with it.
Okay. I think I'm going to need more butter. Duh. And I know in this situation, there's a too much butter situation.
But it's really only when, it makes it so that you can't handle your dough.
Sure.
I think maybe if I had rough chopped my olives also would have been a good idea.
That makes sense.
Right. So this time I'm I'm flattening it a little bit.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know what this is going to be like when I try and roll it.
So then once you like make the shape, are you putting it right onto a parchment lined sheet pan? Okay.
Yes. I am going to brush them with butter.
On the top.
Yeah. Now I'm going to kind of smush it out flat. I've got all kinds of ideas going on over here.
Okay.
And I won't know which one is which after I get it out of the oven.
Yeah.
Rolls are hard. Okay. I'm done with that nonsense. I'm not done with the filling. I'm just going to not do rolls anymore.
Okay. New plan.
New plan.
Okay. Yep. Rolls are super hard. Mine exploded out the side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to make like a little bit of like a kind of like a cigarello kind of shape
Okay.
thing.
I like it.
It's just going to be kind of a long and skinny thing.
That sounds nice.
Yeah, fuck this roll shit. I'd already did 6 of them, but I'm like, fuck it.
Yeah. I think I'm only going to have like 4 big ones.
Hey, it's all good with me. They're doing all kinds of fancy shit, like tying them up with leek ribbons and stuff like that. And I was like, no.
That sounds very pretty. Not interested.
Very pretty, very fiddly. Not something I'm interested in doing.
I don't know what this shape is that I just did. I have no idea what that is.
It's my last one though. Interesting. All right,
Uh.
spanakopita. Let's do it.
Next. Yep. That is not shapes, but that's okay. I don't know what these are, but you know what? It's going to taste good.
It's gonna taste great. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm
Spanakopita is next.
Yeah. I'm gonna layer 4 sheets together.
Okay.
I think I'll cut this into thirds and in half.
Okay. Okay.
I think
I
that's
need
gonna
to
give
melt
me
some more butter.
the most square type square. So I've done brushing with my 3rd layer of butter. I'm adding my 4th layer of dough.
Okay.
More butter. I'm not even sure if we really need to butter this one because the filling's just going inside, but I did.
Well, yeah. I mean, we'll always take the butter. It's not a
It's not a problem really. So I'm cutting it down lengthways in half first, and then and then by thirds across the shorter axis. Oh, these are going to be fun. So far, this has been the faster of the 2 to make. 3 minutes left. Becca, do you think we can do it?
Yeah, totally. We got this. 3 minutes. My Filo is very brittle on the edges.
As it starts to dry out, that will be a problem, but
Yeah.
it shouldn't be too noticeable.
Okay.
We're moving pretty quick through here, so hopefully you'll get through without too much of an issue. Because yes, when your sheets of dough are this thin, this is the other drawback is that, yeah, as soon as it starts to dry out, it gets pretty brittle. You could also like fold the plastic up around it when you're not working with it, and that'll help keep the edges a little bit, that a little bit more moist.
Yeah. Okay. I did take it out of the packaging.
Plastic?
Yeah.
The stuff that it was rolled in.
Yeah. Okay. Spinach triangles.
Squares or triangles?
Spinach squares. That's
Okay.
right. Yeah. Spinach squares.
Like, wait, am I
Okay.
doing it wrong?
No, you're doing it right. So thirds and then in half horizontally.
Yes.
Okay.
The longer way. And then thirds the shorter way.
Got it. So these are big.
Yeah, these are going to be bigger, which I think is okay.
Yeah.
So my sheet pan is full. I'm going to brush
Okay.
the tops of mine with butter and put them in. My spirals are already unspiraling.
Okay. Mine's a little more like Monty than
That's okay.
a triangle or a
Square.
we'll call it. Yeah.
It's fine. It's all good. Whatever you
Yeah.
like. Whatever
Okay.
works for you.
Yeah.
I'm baking half of mine with the seams up, and then I'm going to bake the other half with the seams down.
Ooh, that's fun.
So just to see what I like better.
That's cool. I like that.
And I'm going in with my first tray.
So that doesn't have any of the apple cheddar.
No,
Okay. And then how long are we cooking these again?
15 minutes
Okay.
to start. Gotta get another sheet pan out. I can keep an eye on those while they're baking. I know that when we originally talked about doing these, I had said to do 1 layer of dough.
Uh-huh.
But considering
now?
how much dough I have left and how the other things have benefited from having more layers, I'm going to do 3 layers of dough and then fold the cheese up inside.
I like that.
And this one's going to be long strips that we're going to cut it into. I think
Okay.
I'll maybe do thirds again.
Okay.
We'll see how this ends up going. But as you can see, you can kind of do with it what you will.
It's super flexible.
Like, yes, use me as you will.
3 layers for our apple. Oh, I should put my first tray in.
Yes. We are also 6 minutes past time, which is not too bad considering.
I have so much puff pastry and phyllo now. Like, I'm like, what am I gonna do?
Hand pies for everyone. Yay.
I do love hand pies.
I was gonna say it's a good way to use up like leftovers if you ever have something that you like, kind of like have little protein or, obviously
Like
not
a veggie or something.
yeah, veggie, a few different veggies that are kind of left over that you can chop up together, and
yeah,
these are going to be huge as well. Yes.
Okay, I want to see you do these ones.
Okay. Playing fast and loose with the rules here. Not sure what I'm doing with these, but
Whatever gets to a triangle, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
I'm gonna try making it a little smaller,
Okay.
narrower strips. Can't
Oh,
make
you
them
did little
huge.
guys?
Littler.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I'll do quarters again on the next round. So,
Okay.
So much filling left. Yeah. Oh, how are my things doing in the oven?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, cute. Oh, they look good.
That's cute.
I forgot how cute Filo can be.
They are very cute. There's a lot of butter coming out. I guess I put too much butter on.
No, that's
okay.
the non-laminatedness of it is
Okay.
It's gonna go everywhere.
I see. Should I put my apple ones in? Just go with them with the other ones in there too, or wait?
Oh, you can put them in at the same time. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I got 5 minutes left on my first tray before I'm gonna check them. I mean, I think they'll be pretty much there though.
Yeah.
They're looking pretty well done.
I am all assembled and then all in the oven.
Oh, wow. Go you.
Go me. Well, I made big ones. I like to do that because
Right.
it's much easier.
You're like, no, I will not be doing any of this.
You're like, I'm redoing this and making them smaller. And I'm like, go in the opposite direction.
No, I'm going to make them huge. Yeah. But yeah, if you're all ready to go, no reason to not put them in. You did put them in, right?
Yeah, everything's in. So
go you. All right.
What do I do with my phyllo that's now? I mean, I know you were saying like, what do I do with this? But like, how do I put it back in the fridge or?
Yes. Yeah, you can keep it in the fridge. I would try and use it within the next 2 days, probably.
Okay.
It might smell really good. I think these are done. Ooh, those are pretty. Going in with my apple.
Okay.
I guess I'll go for another 15 minutes because that seems to have done the trick. You want to see mine?
Beautiful.
Yeah, they look really good.
Those look so tasty.
Pinwheels look a little rough, but the spanakopita look great. Is that your first tray or your second?
My first tray. Can I show you?
Ah, beautiful. Oh, they look so good.
The big little pockets.
The pockets look awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like that packety look. That looks so great. I thought,
thank you.
Man, I feel like these are cooking even faster than the last ones.
Your apples?
They're starting to brown a bit.
Maybe because they've been pre-cooked, or you just mean the phyllo.
Oh, well, that is possible. I mean, yeah, it could be just that the other ones didn't take that long to cook, really. I think maybe my pinwheels needed a couple more layers.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, I don't think I'd do those again anyway, but sure. They're just a little I was like, maybe I should put them back in to crisp up, but I'm afraid if I put them back in, the cheese will just melt,
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
God, these look good. I want to stuff this all in my face right now.
I know. So I think my apples will be done soon.
Yeah, mine are at least halfway done, like halfway fully cooked. I'm going to turn mine actually around so that.
Oh.
Because I think the ones in the back are cooking a little quicker. I'm going to try one of my pinwheels, maybe, if it's not so hot that I can't die or that I will die. Oh, fuck yeah. Needed a couple more layers of dough, but I love the flavor.
Yeah, you were really excited about that one. The olive and goat.
I just love olives.
Mm-hmm.
Probably didn't even need to salt them. They're a little salty.
Yeah, I forgot to put pine nuts in the mix. So I was just adding them when I was filling it. And I think I forgot to put them in one of them.
How is it with them kind of on the top then?
Kinda. I kind of pushed them in a little so they're not totally on their own.
Yeah, I like these. Spanakopita are so good too.
Monty Copita.
Oh, fuck yeah. All right, give me these apple ones. I need to try them right now.
Okay, I'm pulling my apples.
I'm very tempted to pull mine too. I think they're done.
They're pretty.
They have juices coming out of the corner though. We'll see how it is. Oh, those are pretty. Yeah, I'm getting those out too. That was only 11 minutes for those guys.
That's quick.
So our first round of baked items took about 15 minutes, pretty much exactly, to bake. And then the apple ones baked in 11 minutes. So that was a nice surprise. Even my big guys.
So cute. And you've tasted everything but the apple so far.
Yes.
And I have to still taste mine.
Well, you better taste them.
I know. I love smelling the dill. Okay, here I go with the spinach pita first. Oh my God. Gretchen.
I know.
Oh my God. Oh my God. This is so good. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, I gotta try olive. Come here, you little olive.
Yeah,
oh my God, the olive.
I
my
love
God.
the olive.
With so much butter.
So good.
Oh my gosh.
And we're only 30 minutes over our allotted time. We did have them almost fully made in time. So that's pretty good. We just hadn't factored in the baking, probably because I hadn't really thought about it yet.
That wasn't considered at the time.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so we just have to taste our apple, and then we've got our appetizer party going.
I'm going to cut one of these in half just to see how the steam is on the inside.
Okay.
Oh,
So good.
yeah.
Are you glad we added the honey?
It just adds like a nice floral note to it.
Okay, my first bite was all Filo, which tasted delicious, but I'm going to do another bite now. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yep. So good. We did awesome. Go us.
Wow. Filo dough appetizers.
Accomplished. I think we forgot to give a world level assessment.
Oh,
Which I definitely think this is, a 2. It takes a little patience, but nothing that's extraordinarily difficult.
I agree. I think I initially was thinking 2 to 3 just because of the couple of steps, but it's not hard at all. It just is kind of like a patience thing.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, so good. I'm so proud of us with our menu selection and our filling assortments. They're so delicious.
Yay.
Yay, we did it.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us on our Filo journey. Like and subscribe. We are on Facebook and Instagram for the most part.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Another super fun adventure. And you can find all of our thoughts at hightgluttony.com. And like Gretchen said, we're on some of the socials, but we've been
not so great at that lately.
Not so great. Just listen, but tell people about us. Thank you for following us. Thank you for joining us. And off we go.
Off we go. And get the fuck out.
You gotta eat.
Yeah.
Oh, hungry.